We start tonight at 5 with breaking news from Milwaukee County Courthouse. Guilty on all counts for a grandfather on trial for killing his grandson with a sledgehammer.
Angelica Sanchez tells us the defense asked the judge to consider the grandfather's claim of self-defense, but that judge wasn't buying it, Angie.
That's right, guys. The judge did not buy it. In fact, she says too much evidence in this case points to this beating as an intentional act. She also says evidence shows the child in this case tried to get away from his grandfather more than once and more than likely tried to use a gun to protect himself in that brutal assault.
It was protracted. It was prolonged.
A Milwaukee County judge finds Andrez Martina guilty of all charges against him, including first-degree intentional homicide for the murder of his grandson, 12-year-old Andrez Smith. The child died from fatal injuries at the hands of his grandfather.
And this child became the outlet, it appears, for a lot of rage.
Prosecutors say Martina used a sledgehammer and other objects to beat the 12-year-old. He also beat his younger brother, who witnessed the entire incident. Police say Martina accused the 12-year-old of stealing money from him.
Wasn't thinking, so I wasn't in my right frame of mind.
Martina admitted multiple times to being under the influence of drugs and alcohol when his grandchildren slept over his house last August. He says when he confronted his grandson over the missing cash, the child pulled out a gun stored in the home.
When I grabbed the gun from him, and he swung into the wall, hit his head on the wall. And that's the only thing I remember.
His defense attorney asked the judge to consider a lesser charge of second-degree intentional homicide, arguing his client used imperfect self-defense in the situation. The prosecution argued against this claim.
The defendant takes the gun away from Andre before any of the lethal blows are delivered to Andre.
In her verdict, the judge says the child was likely acting in self-defense based on his younger brother's testimony.
The evidence also is undisputed that this child tried to escape the house twice.
She says the evidence is all too clear.
All of that indicates to the court inescapably that this was an intentional act.
Sentencing is scheduled for June 6th. Family that was present inside the courtroom did not want to make a statement after the verdict. Reporting live outside the Milwaukee County Courthouse, Angelica Sanchez, FOX6 News.